about the motherfucking Howling movies. Howling 1?
The Howling quadrilogy.
Oh, are we talking about part 4 as well?
Might as well. I've fucking watched it.
Okay, cool. Let's start from the beginning. The movie begins with one of perhaps the best, just text on black title sequences maybe ever, where it's just like, the letters, the Howling gets slashed into like black in red letters. And then the mirror, then it turns out that it's on a mirror and it shatters. And it's like, psh, and then there's sort of like this really weird treatment where it's like TV and it's like fuzzy TV and like the weird sort of like voices from like the abyss of the TV. And it's like, this is a werewolf movie, but they're emphasizing kind of technology and television and communication in this opening bit. And it, for me, like some people might just be like, what who cares? But for me, it's really interesting because it's very modern. Like it really is saying like, oh, this is like a modern, this is a werewolf. I guess this is a werewolf movie because I just heard a wolf go, a wolf howl, but now it's like all like TV shit. And it's like, oh, this is like this is a werewolf movie for like the 80s,
It makes me think of Dawn of the Dead a lot, where that also sort of begins in a TV studio and you literally are just like thrust into a situation and you're not really sure what's going on and you just have to like pick up the pieces of like what's happening. And the other sort of modern, one of the things I do like about the movie is it starts off with this kind of like serial killer situation going on, and you like, as the story begins, you start to get all these little pieces of like, although the serial killer has been in touch with the anchor woman from the news, and who's played by Dee Wallace, and she's gonna go and meet him in some sleazy combat zone type area.
Like a fucking
like a
porno
Times
theater.
Square, yeah, like a Times Square combat zone porn area of Los Angeles. And I find that like kind of cool. Like there's something really cool about that, to start a movie off that way.
The opening of the film is fantastic. I think that like the first, all the way up until like, like the whole experience in the porno theater, the way that like you kind of catch glimpses of this like lurid kind of rough porn going on. I remember seeing this when I was younger and just like, and being really, really like kind of upset by it. And
dude, when I first saw this movie, I saw it when it came out on HBO. So it was probably like 1981 or 2. So I was probably like 11, 10. And it scared the fucking shit out of me. The whole thing did. Like, it scared me so bad. Like, I read the Bible every night for like a month. I was so scared. Just everything about it. Just like that this was the world we lived in. Like, never mind the werewolves and shit, but like, just like porno theaters and scumbags and people trying to like kill you, and just, it really horrified me.
Isn't that funny how like this werewolf movie, I think that's just objectively true, that this opening sequence of the film is probably the scariest part of the film. And like it sort of gets in touch with the most sort of visceral, like the most visceral kind of like, fear-inducing experience, I guess. I'm not really sure how to put it, but I guess all I'm trying to say is that like that opening sequence feels like it aligns with something that's like really special and really unique and really,
but like
really
combining
cool.
combining the sort of sleazy underground world of perversion and sex, and like combining that with, basically universal monsters, supernatural creatures, is just, it works. It's a cool combination.
Well, it's how you bring it into the 20th century. It's how you bring it into the 80s.
And I even like how, like, this little sticker things that he does, like
smiley faces,
like that sort of just becomes like, oh, he's around somewhere. I like how he leaves his little trail, around throughout the movie.
Yeah. I mean, all right, well, let's, so she goes into the movie theater. She gets accosted by a guy looking for sex. Like, hey, how much for a half and half? And then like, she's like, buzz off. And then she goes and sits down in the movie theater. The porno starts. And then, our killer, Eddie Quist, played by, Star Trek fans, will know Robert Picardo, who played the holographic doctor on Star Trek Voyager. But anyways, he plays.
I didn't realize that was him until fairly recently.
He used to be like Doug Jones, Robert Picardo. Doug Jones, do you know who that is? Doug Jones is like largely known for being a creature suit performer. Like he was in like Pan's Labyrinth and all this shit.
Okay.
And then Robert Picardo used to be the same. He used to be like in like Legend, like that Tom Cruise movie where there's that like swamp witch, which is a fucking sick ass design. Like really, there's a lot of great characters in that movie. There's also the kid from what's that movie we talked about? The Tin Drum. That's right. The Tin Drum movies in that. The kid is in that.
He plays
movie.
Like a fairy or something.
Yeah, he plays a little fucking little nymphette. But anyway, so Robert Picardo's back there, and there's this cool bit where he's like, "Don't look at me, just keep looking at the screen." And then you hear like kind of the sounds of tearing clothing and like stretching flesh, and he's like, "Okay, now look at me, turn around." And she turns around, and she can't scream. And then the cops rush in, and it's dark, and there's all big fury, fucking kerfuffle, and Eddie Quist ends up getting shot dead by the police, and he, I guess, turns back into a werewolf before they can kind of clock him as a werewolf. And then D. Wallace Stone
he turns back into a human before they could clock him.
Right. My bad. He turns back into a human. So,
and also one of the cops is he was from the original The Thing.
Oh, like the black and white one.
The black and white one.
Oh fuck.
This movie's chock full of special cameos.
Slim Pickens is the only one I really can remember.
Forrest Ackerman is walking around in the bookstore that's run by Dick Miller.
Right.
John Carradine, of course.
Right.
John Sayles is the guy who he's the guy running the mortuary or something where Quisp they're keeping his body in the cooler. John
Sayles, like the writer,
the director.
Oh, he was a writer too, no, wasn't he? He wrote.
He wrote some scripts. Yeah,
he wrote. I think he wrote Alligator.
Probably. He was kind of like part of that sort of Roger Corman. Oh, and actually Roger Corman is at the very beginning, and they reprise when she's in the phone booth and she's calling the news station, and there's a guy like right outside the phone booth with his back to her.
Yeah.
They're like reprising the scene from Rosemary's Baby when Rosemary's in the phone booth making the phone call and there's somebody like waiting outside. And then it turns around and it turns out to be William Castle. So here it's
Roger Corman. Huh. Yeah, that's cool. Maybe I should, give the Howling another chance, because all this stuff is I love, and I like, you mentioned the Dick Miller bookstore parts and stuff. I love those. It's mostly just like, it's just how it kind of, loses all of its life when we go back into the woods. And and it just like I want it to be in the city, and I want to stay in like seedy, scummy LA, but instead we're in the what's it called in the movie, the colony or the fucking
Yeah, it's like some kind of like a therapy camp in the woods run by Patrick McGee from the Avengers.
yeah.
Oh, and then like there's the one dude who, and you mentioned Slim Pickens from Doctor Strangelove, and then there's like this one guy who, the only thing I really remember him as a kid, he was in all the A1 commercials, the A1 steak sauce. Like he was just like the A1 steak sauce guy, and like the whole commercial was like somebody's putting ketchup on their hamburger, and they're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" It's like, "Oh, I'm putting ketchup." Hamburgers, it's made out of steak. It's not made out of ham. So you should put steak sauce on your burger. And that was his commercial.
I mean, he makes a really good point, I will say. D. Wallace Stone, excuse me, I'm going to cough right now.
E.T.'s mother.
She's got this like hunky boyfriend, played by Dennis Dugan, I believe. Is this guy's name?
For like in my memory,
Tom Atkins.
For some reason, I thought it was Tom Atkins, and so when I rewatched it, I was like, "Oh wait, it's not Tom Atkins. It's a Tom Atkins alike."
Yeah, exactly. They couldn't afford Tom Atkins' salary.
The next best thing,
yeah.
Dennis Dugan.
Dennis Dugan comes in as the ringer.
I don't know what else he's done. I've never seen him in anything else.
Yeah, let's take a look at his filmography here. Still alive, this fucking guy. 79. He's hanging on. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, he's a director. You know what he directed? He directed
Star Wars,
Problem Child.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, your favorite movie. We should do the Problem Child 1 and 2. That's two of the most disturbing movies that I've ever seen in my life.
I've never seen 2.
Really? Two is crazy. There's this part in 2 where like the babysitter comes over and she's like, go to bed, twerp. My boyfriend's coming over. And he's like, what? You said we were going to play snakes and ladders or some shit. And then like,
like 18 and that.
No, he's like, I don't know. He's like 12, but,
okay.
But then he ends up,
where's that guy?
I don't want to know. I really don't want to know. But the babysitter starts fucking the boyfriend in the parents' room, but then Junior sneaks in like a video camera and then he projects it on the side of the house. So it's like the neighborhood is like watching this teen couple fucking in the parents' bedroom, and they're like eating popcorn and drinking, and Junior's going around serving beers and stuff. And they're all just like, yeah, fuck her in her ass, spread it open. And it's just like this, and you're watching it as a kid, just being like, holy shit. But
is John Ritter in that one?
Yes, I think that everyone returns for Problem Child 2.
Lorraine Newman.
Yeah. And who else was in Kramer was in Problem Child 1, I believe.
Jack Warden.
Hold on, let me see who directed Problem Child 2. Brian Levant. What do we got here? Filmography. What else does he direct? He directed he directed Beethoven. Damn. It all connects, man. It's like a fine tapestry. Anyway, so this couple goes to the colony, and the first thing that we see is Slim Pickens, how he wants to burn himself in the fire because he doesn't want to be a werewolf anymore. All this stuff is just tiresome. I don't care. But the big sort of sort of whatever, like.
Wait a minute, what did you say? Slim Pickens burns himself in the fire?
He wants to. Remember that part? He's like, I want to end it. I don't want to go on anymore. He's like, he's.
No, that's John Carradine.
Is it?
John Carradine is that guy, and then Slim Pickens is the guy who was the sheriff, and they shoot him when he stops him in the road, and then they have a shootout with him. That's right, Slim Pickens.
Well, I'm trying. Like, sorry, I'm not as diligent as you. Like, I'm going off of like sort of a memory. You've seen these all fairly recently, right?
Yeah, I watched that the first Howling like a week ago. Okay,
well, yeah, it's been a little longer for me. but anywho, what I was trying to say before is that like the big like like what do you call it? Like the sort of the philosophical kind of thread throughout this film is kind of this idea of like there are these urges in humans that are lusty and animalistic and stuff, and they're represented in the film by like I guess whatever werewolfism, and the doctor is who runs the spot. Is it the A1? Is it the A1 sauce commercial guy? Who's the doctor?
No, the doctor is the British guy who's he was from the Avengers, Patrick McGee.
Right. So this guy, he thinks that he can kind of like sort of safely kind of have this kind of exist in a controlled environment where humans don't have to get killed. And it's sort of the same thing as like I don't know, drinking grape juice instead of wine at communion or something, where you're just kind of like softening the thing that's been around for like thousands of years into something that is more easily maintained. Or maybe it's like in that show True Blood, where it's like, you ever see that show True Blood? Remember that show?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, let's, we don't have to kill humans anymore if we make this kind of fake blood that's sort of like a non-alcoholic beer version of blood.
Well, I mean, you're kind of talking about it as if like this is something that's all out in the open. This is something that's like revealed at the end, like that all these people in this colony are werewolves.
Yeah. Of course. What I mean to say is just that like, that's what this colony is for. And that's why this guy set this whole thing up, is to sort of almost like rehabilitate werewolves into people who can, exist somewhat in society and not hurt anybody. And then there are sort of, people who are rebelling against that, like Marcia Quist, Eddie Quist's, sister, who's like a slutty, horny bitch werewolf who fucks,
I was
Tom
kind
Atkins.
I was kind of shocked again by their lovemaking scene, because like I remember seeing it as a kid and being like, wow, this is a fairly graphic, they're both completely nude, they're rolling around together. You don't really see much of that.
Yeah. And
anymore.
And the final shot of them both as werewolves is a cartoon.
Yeah, that too. So like it's strange because this movie on the one hand feels, with like it's got Forrest Ackerman in it, and it just feels like this is for young monster loving boys.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time it's got like softcore sex.
Yeah, but it's not that you as you realized later on, it's you get to see like a pair of tits, and then whatever.
That you see her bush too.
Do you really?
Oh yeah, she's completely fucking nude.
I saw everything. What about the during that sex scene? Is she like kind of like she hasn't like began to transform into a werewolf yet, right? Like she's just like a nude.
No, it's
lady.
not like in 2 where Sybil Danning is covered with blonde fur, so it's sort of like it prevents you from having to like being able to jack off to it.
Well, you still get, have that one scene that they repeat a million times.
Right, exactly. Because it's like a historic scene in cinema.
Yeah.
But so no, she's completely human, and she gets completely nude, and he also gets completely nude, and they're both rolling around on the ground together, and it goes on for a while, and it's fairly
titillating.
It's fairly graphic for a mainstream movie.
Mm-hmm. So then like, and then, whatever, there's like, tension, this bitch leaves like fingernail scratch marks in his back and everything. And then Dee Wallace is like, where'd you get those? And he's like, oh, I fell or something, or I got attacked by a fucking badger. And then she's like, yeah, right. You'd be hanging out with that fucking Marsha bitch. She's looking at you like a bitch in heat. And then he slaps her and the relationship falls apart. The whole thing too of, her not wanting to have sex because she's scared, he tries to like fuck her and then, and she's like, no, 'cause she like has a flashback of the movie theater.
She's having a flashback of being attacked.
And then when she wants to fuck, he doesn't want to anymore because he's all werewolfed out and imprinted on that other bitch who's like more sexually adventurous, ostensibly.
Well, he also gets bit too. So he's becoming a werewolf.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean he was a werewolf when he was having sex with that lady.
Right. So I think it was because some of the men in the group go hunting and then they go and he shoots a rabbit and then Marsha's brother says like, oh, go over to my sister's house and
she'll prepare it for you. Yeah.
She'll prepare it. And then she kind of tries to like make moves on him and he rejects her and runs out of there. But then as he's walking home, he gets bit by a werewolf.
The guy goes, well, if you kill an animal and you don't eat it, well, that's a sin. So then there's this team. There's like a couple back in the city that's like trying to. Who are they? Are they like?
They're Dee Wallace's co-workers at the news station, and also the guy that runs the news station is the dude from Invasion of the Body Snatchers, whose name I'm blanking on. He's also in UHF.
Nice.
But so the man and woman, the couple, they're like co-workers at the news station. And so the Dee Wallace calls the woman and says like, hey, things are weird out here. Can you come out and, I don't know, hang out with me? She drives to the colony and while she's, but I should also mention that like,
yes,
Eddie Quisp, I always want to say Quisp, like the cereal. Eddie Quisp, Cookie Crisps. His apartment was also like that. Also creeped me out as a kid. Like all the like satanic monster drawings and shit all over his wall.
Yeah.
And, but he also has a drawing in his apartment of like some coastline. And when this woman goes to the colony and she's like walking around, she realizes like one of the landscapes that she's looking at is in fact something that is from Eddie Quisp's sketchbook.
Yeah.
So she realizes like, oh my God, that this is Eddie Quisp lives here. He's been here.
This is a stomping ground.
So then she starts like she keeps walking through the woods. She comes upon some cabin. She starts walking around the cabin. She realizes like, this has similar vibes to the Eddie Quisp's apartment.
Jesus, just call him Eddie.
And then she gets attacked.
Well, she gets fucking Eddie shows up and he's all fucked up and he changes into a werewolf before her eyes.
But also Eddie's brother too, because there's a great scene where she chops off his arm and then the arm is like on the ground and it's Rob Bottin who did all so it's got the Rob Bottin, like air, like bubbles popping up in the skin and shit. Right.
The bladder.
If you ever read Rick Baker's book, and he talks about like, because Rob Bottin worked under Rick, and this movie came out first, and so in a way it's actually kind of good that this came out first, because when Rick saw it, he was just like, fuck, man, like now we're working on American Werewolf in London. I gotta like make this 10 times as good as what is in the Howling.
Right.
Because at the time, like, you know, and even thinking back on it when I was a kid, like it was, I mean, looking at it now, it seems, I'm not going to say it's bad, but it definitely seems dated,
Mm-hmm.
you know, considering like the effects that have been pioneered since then. But so, you know, John Landis too, like knowing like, oh, there's this other werewolf movie, we have to fucking do something superior. And that's what he did.
That's kind of what created I mean, ever since those movies, maybe even like who was the original like Wolfman? Was it Lon Chaney Jr. or some shithead like that? What's Lon short for?
I don't know.
Long, Long.
That's true for long. If you're too busy to say long, yeah. You could just say lawn.
I'm going to go off.
Lonnie, short for Lonnie.
Right. I'm going to.
From Scores.
Do you ever see from Scores? Do you ever see that show, Love on the Spectrum?
Yeah, I've seen clips and shit.
I watched an episode last night. There was a part in it that made me laugh. Like there's this one like black autistic guy. And there's a part where like, you know, the guy who's holding the camera, like knocks on his door and he knocks on his door and the guy opens up and his name's Logan. He's like, hey Logan, what's going on? And the guy goes, nothing. Just opening the door.
Just hanging around.
No, he goes, just opening the door. And he said it like he was like panicking to say something. I thought it was so funny. It was so like just the perfect joke. Anyways, but he didn't even realize that it was a funny joke, which is hilarious. Anyways, back to the Howling. There's, you know, what do you call it? The American Werewolf in London and Howling kind of inadvertently, created sort of this expectation of the transformation scene in a werewolf movie. I mentioned the Lon Chaney Jr. Wolfman movie also because, like, I guess to some degree that was a big part of that film, like that sort of not time lapse, but sort of dissolve kind of thing where they're applying makeup, showing his hand, you know, having hair appear.
You know what else has fairly good transformation of, you know, for its time is the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde with Frederick March.
I don't think I've ever seen it.
That one's probably my favorite of all the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde movies because he really, I don't know. He's like it's just like the most fun Mr. Hyde I think I've seen. I haven't watched all the Mr. Hyde movies, but it's definitely like the most crazy fun Mr. Hyde I've ever seen in a movie.
Right. But
just like also just the transformation too is pretty cool for the time.
Well, I mean, what does he transform into? Just like a guy smiling? Like isn't Mr. Hyde just a guy with like sideburns?
In the case of this movie,
mm-hmm.
he transforms from like, you know, a very Victorian gentleman to a fairly ape Baba Booey looking.
he transforms into an Italian guy, like a Sicilian.
Basically, he's got like big teeth and big lips.
Oh,
looks like.
Yeah, I know exactly the one I know exactly that version of Mr. Hyde.
He looks very simian, but he also acts very simian too. So he's chimping out.
He's chimping out. Jesus. So you know, we kind of skipped over like the whole bit with I think we did skip over the whole bit with like the Dick Miller bookstore.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned that. I mean, I mentioned it, but yeah, Forrest Ackerman's at the very beginning.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, you know, you got to kill the things with silver. That's the only way you can kill them. Like cockroaches come back from the dead, you know? And he's just like, is that true? He's like, what do I know, man? I got fucking silver bullets. You know, some guy ordered silver bullet. They set the fucking Chekhov's gun thing where it's like, you know, oh, somebody ordered silver bullets but never picked them up, so I have them here. And then sure enough, they go and they get them later. And then he has that line where he's just like, the guy's like, so, I mean, I forget what he says, but it's like, what would you do if you actually encountered a real werewolf? And he's like, look, man, I'm just trying to fucking sell books here, you know? Like he drops the act for a second. I'm just like, Dick Miller kind of rules. That goes without saying. He's always great and everything. But so then the movies after that werewolf transformation bit, then we don't have the transformation. It's just the werewolf shows up, and then the transformation happens when she encounters D. Wallace Stone, and Eddie Quist has a fucking bullet in his head. And that's where you get your transformation, and that's where you get like the iconic muzzle elongation and all that kind of crap.
And like the bubbling skin. But I remember as a kid, like even before I watched the movie, and somebody was describing like, oh, there's a scene where a guy like picks his brain. He says, I'm going to give you a piece of my mind. And he pulls a chunk of his brain out of his head. I was just like, what the fuck? That sounds fucking nuts. I didn't even believe them. Yeah. It sounded so crazy.
And then you saw it. You were like, that kid was right. I'm just imagining, I'm imagining the kid who told you that was Matt Dillon from Over the Edge.
He definitely wasn't that cool.
Wearing a cutoff, showing his midriff.
Probably some fat punk.
Anyways, yeah. So like whatever I can't even really remember what happens at the end. I know that there's like a car, they're attacking her in a car, and then there's a fire, and then they bring D. Wallace to the they're having some kind of werewolf thing in a barn, and the other news reporter guy shows up, and he starts threatening these people with a gun, and they're kind of like, oh, that's not going to work on us. And then he shoots one of them. I think it's Eddie's brother. Yeah.
He keels over, and they're like, because they're like, silver bullets, my ass. And I think the A1 steak sauce guy says that, and they shoot him, and he dies. And then they're like, oh shit, these are real. And so they force all the werewolves into the barn, and then they burn the barn down.
Right.
And
some of them run out.
D. Wallace and the other reporter guy like jump in the car, and they drive away. And then that's when they run into Slim Pickens, and they have a shootout. And but eventually they do escape, but not before D. Wallace is bitten. I think she's like while they're driving away, her husband bites her,
right?
Like crashes through the car and bites her. So then they use this as an opportunity to tell the world about the secret werewolf problem that's plaguing the United States.
Yep.
And I remember like that's probably like my least, like I'm always sort of wondering about the decision on this, but so D. Wallace returns to the anchor desk at the news station, and she's like, okay, well, this just in, and I'm a werewolf. And then she starts like transforming, and she looks like an Ewok. Like she doesn't look like a werewolf. She's like incredibly adorable. She's got like a little teeny nose.
Yeah. And it's sniffing.
She looks like a little lap dog. And then the other reporter guy that knows that she's a werewolf executes her live on the air. And then they cut to people watching on the TV, and they're like, oh, Mom, the lady on the news is turning into a werewolf.
Yeah. And she's like, oh fuck, they got no shame these days, And then they cut to like a bar, and then it's Marsha's at the bar. How do you want your burger? Rare. And then just sizzling meat on the grill for the credits.
Yeah.
Sick. Actually, I remember that I probably saw this when I was very young as well. Probably around that age, like maybe 10 or so. I remember watching it in New Jersey. Like I was visiting my uncle, but I remember being in his living room watching that chunk of hamburger on the flat top grill sizzling away. Anyway, whatever. Fuck the Howling. It's got a lot of great stuff. It's got a lot of great stuff in it. Is it a great movie? I don't think so.
I think it's a fun movie. It moves fast. Everybody in it is cool. It's a delight.
Oh, okay. Sounds like you rated it pretty high.
It's delightful. Well, I mean, I'd say it's like probably about a 3.5 eggplants.
I call it a 3 myself.
But because I think it's it's a fun werewolf movie made by somebody who is a fan of those movies and understands them and knows the audience and pretty much gives the audience what it wants.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Right.
And compared to the sequels, it's fucking Barry Lyndon.
It's Barry Lyndon, the finest film ever made. So we move to the direct sequel, Howling 2. They dropped it's just Howling 2. Sometimes called Howling 2, My Sister is a Werewolf, or what's the other one where it's like Howling 2, Stirba, the werewolf bitch, or something like that.
When I first saw it as a teen, I only knew it as the Howling 2.
Right. Howling 2. Wonderful film. We start off with a song that you better like because you're certainly going to hear a lot of it.
This movie also, I think, has like every screen wipe in your screen wipe library is in this movie. There's the clock wipe. There's the side wipe. There's the spiral wipe. They're all there.
Yep, it's got more wipes than than an airport bathroom.
It's got more wipes than a baby's nursery.
It's got more wipes than Star Wars. Star Wars got a lot of wipes in it.
Well, that's why I think whoever saw this was like, yeah, just Star Wars uses them wipes. Let's throw some wipes in, and people might think this movie's as good as Star Wars.
Yeah.
Why was Star Wars successful?
The wipes.
Because it had wipes.
The wipes. The wipes.
Where are the wipes?
Yeah. Just so that everyone knows, I'm doing the Italian Richie Aprile thing where he goes, the jacket. Remember that thing?
I remember Richie Aprile, but I don't remember that scene.
Don't you remember where he's like he beats up like he's got this
Janus?
but he has this leather jacket that he stole from like some old tough gangster, and he like beat him up and then took his leather jacket, and then he gives it to Tony, and he's like, I got something for you. And Tony's like, well, what is it? And he's like, it's the jacket. Remember, I stole it from fucking Rocco Balboa or whatever the fuck the guy's name is. And then Tony puts it on. He's like, oh, look at you. You look like fucking Billy Bark. And then then Tony ends up just giving it to like his maid's husband. And then Richie sees this, like he sees the husband like leaving with the jacket, and he's in the kitchen with Carmela drinking coffee. And he's like, he just kind of almost has like a stroke, and he's just like, I gotta go. He's so emotionally affected by the fact that Tony gave away the jacket. It's fucking amazing.
Right.
But anyways, Howling 2, with veteran actor Christopher Lee.
I also read the Wikipedia for this, and it sounded like this was a very difficult, strained production.
Yeah. Well, go on.
Oh, it sounded like, there was lots of fighting between like the people that made the original Howling and this other guy that's producing the Howling 2 and getting money. They didn't have enough money. I guess there were a lot of scenes that were added later. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming like when the midget's face blows up and shit like that. Yeah. Probably like all stuff that was like added later.
Right. Sounds like the cross production. Yeah, I think I saw in some fucking YouTube video that like Christopher Lee was in Gremlins 2 that was directed by Joe Dante. And like when he met Joe Dante for the first time, he apologized for being in Howling 2. He was like, sorry about that. Sorry about that shitty fucking movie we made. The poster for Howling 2 is probably the best thing about it. And also Sybil Danning. But I
She's
love
really the only redeeming quality of the movie.
Yeah. That poster is sweet. Go on.
I don't remember the poster, but I feel like oh yeah, that is good.
Yeah.
But like rewatching the movie, I was just like, man, I like don't remember. The only thing I remember about the movie is Sybil Danning. Other than that, like everything is just a complete blur.
Yeah. I mean, I remember that Sybil Danning, and I remember that fucking song.
I didn't even remember that song.
That song, I love that song, man. That song's so much better than fucking. Yeah, I do.
Going to a showdown.
Yeah, exactly. It's better than going to a showdown.
No way.
Yes, absolutely. No, absolutely.
I'd rather listen to Going to a Showdown all night.
Well,
I don't even remember what that other song is.
It's called Howling.
Okay. It's terrible.
No, I mean that's like that's a great song to put on like in a Halloween mix. Like if you're going to like a Halloween party and you have the haunted.
I went to a Halloween party and I heard Going to a Showdown.
yeah.
I'd be like, man, this person is cool.
Yeah, the Haunted House of Rock by Houdini, and then the Howling 2 song. But anyways, well let's get into it. So this is actually like a direct sequel where it's like the fucking the brother of the lady who turned into an Ewok,
Dee Wallace.
Yeah, Dee Wallace. He's like, oh my God, you know what? I need answers. I need to know what happened. And Christopher Lee's there to give answers. And he also is there to what's the word? Consecrate or, free Dee Wallace from returning from the dead.
Right.
He's kind of like a Van Helsing kind of character. Like he's just a guy who just like you go into his house and he's got two like Rick Baker fucking, like prosthetic heads next to like.
I think his house is that Andrew Lloyd Wright or whatever, the fucking architect dude. He's got like a building in Hollywood, like above the Rite Aid.
Right.
And it's like a gallery but I think like they've shot a lot of movies there, like Blade Runner and shit.
Mm.
It's got like a Mayan sort of vibe to it, like a Mayan temple. But I think like that's literally the only shit that's shot in Los Angeles. Everything else is like in Czechoslovakia or something.
Yeah. No, I think that remember the part where they, where the black female werewolf is like, hey, fuck off. And it's just kind of like, hey, it's, do you want to fuck us or what? And she's like, I thought you'd never ask. And then they drive to like a warehouse. And then there's this like really embarrassing kind of like werewolf attack scene at this warehouse. I think that's in LA.
Maybe, but because everything else isn't, I would wonder why that would, because those guys, those punks they're not from LA. I think they're all like British.
Really? I don't know. I guess, yeah, like a warehouse.
But it's hard to tell because a lot of the warehouses, like it's either like a close shot of the warehouse.
No. There's some big wides, but go on. Sorry.
Or you're like inside the warehouse, but I don't remember seeing any definitive LA type. Even like when they're at the cemetery and stuff, like that's not LA.
Yeah, I agree with that. That definitely doesn't feel like it at all. But it looks like a desert, like that warehouse sequence when they're
probably just like a bombed out fucking Czechoslovakian.
That's true. Dump. That's true. It could be that. Yeah, maybe you're right. But I don't know. I was noting sort of the surrounding foliage, and I was like, this looks fairly deserty, fairly foxtaily, outside of LA kind of foliage. But whatever, it doesn't really matter. it doesn't matter at all. Fuck. So they end up, killing the sister again. And then there's this old weird werewolf guy who, fuck. Talking about this movie is just going to give me a headache, because it's like, apparently this werewolf wants to die. It's like, hey, if you don't tell me, I won't kill you. And it's like, so then, like, does he just want to die all the time, this guy? Or like, why doesn't he just kill himself? Why doesn't he just go and tell this guy he's a werewolf and say, kill me, as opposed to like,
it definitely undermines the point. Like, whenever you have these creatures, they just want to die. It's just kind of like, well,
then they go fucking die.
That's no fun.
Yeah.
You want them to be like, yeah, we're supernatural evil creatures that want to kill you, and we're glad to do it.
Yeah. But anyways, this guy coughs up the information that, Stirba is back. Stirba is back, and she's in Transylvania, aka the Dark Country. So they fly to Transylvania. These
we should also say, like, when you say they, it's like it's Christopher Lee, who's like the Van Helsing character, and
the
then
brother.
Like, Dee Wallace, like the woman in the coffin isn't Dee Wallace, but it's whatever.
Supposed to be the character.
It's supposed to be her from the previous movie.
Yeah.
And then there's a woman who claims that she was working with Dee Wallace at the news channel.
Yeah.
She wasn't in the original movie, but she's in this one. And man, is she not, she looks like Eric Stoltz. Like, she's not a good act. Like, I'm just like, how did she get in this movie? She's like not appealing. She's not a good actress. I have nothing good to say about her.
Yeah, she's nothing. I'm trying to imagine her face right now, and it's just sort of like
Eric Stoltz.
Well,
just think of Eric Stoltz.
No, I'm just imagining just like amorphous clay, like just sort of like random claymation happening in front of her face.
And it's kind of like, okay, if you want this sort of like nerd woman in the movie, that's fine. But she's got like a big love scene with the dude, like later on when they're when they go to Czechoslovakia or wherever the fuck they go. Transylvania. Like, she's supposed to be attractive. She's like tied to a stake and covered with blood, and maybe she was dating Philippe Moret or whoever the director is.
Yeah. Felipe Mora. I used to think that he was, The Beast Within, this movie, and then the Howling 3.
And then the next one.
Yeah. I really did think that, like, he was actually like a sort of a stylish director that had some good ideas, but maybe wasn't really given the opportunity to, like, really show what he was capable of. But I'm not sure if I think that. I think that maybe he's just sort of an eccentric Australian guy who maybe made some good decisions on special effects teams for The Beast Within, because that's all really we remember from that film, is that transformation scene. Do you remember that movie at all?
Right. I know what you're talking about. I mean, it's been a minute since I've seen it, but yeah, like that whole movie is about like some teenager turning into a weird monster.
Yeah. Anyways, how much, so Stirba is like this old lady, and then they pass on the soul of this young girl into Stirba. Boom, she turns into Sybil Danning. She takes off her cloak and she's fucking stacked. She got this big, supple, fucking, bouncy, fucking awesome tits and all these really cool outfits that sort of cycle
great
through.
Outfits. But it also just made me think of like the Andy Sedaris movie that she's in, which I'm now blanking on, which she's fucking great in. It'll come to me.
No,
but yeah, it's always a delight when Sybil Danning shows up.
Right. So then I'm starting to blank on what's going on. I know that there's some parts where they're like driving around in the night. Sybil Danning has electricity. She's not just a werewolf. She's sort of like a werewolf, like magical kind of witch queen. And there's a part where she has lightning coming out of her fingertips, and then the midget's head explodes, and she raises up her cape. And when she raises up the cape is like red. And they do this all just with some very rudimentary optical effects, and it's sort of charming. I don't even remember.
And then also the like when she that lovemaking scene between her, there's like a hunky male werewolf and the Ray Don Chong looking werewolf,
right,
who isn't Ray Don Chong, but she looks like Ray Don Chong,
right?
And they're having this like lovemaking scene that seems like it would be so. It's just really embarrassing. Like they're all just kind of like covered up with just enough fur, so you know, like, oh, I guess they are werewolves of some kind, and they're just kind of. It's like what they probably do at like a furry con to each other. Like,
yeah,
it's just real cringe.
Yeah. You think
kids say.
You think that they would, be a little bit more, I don't know, sexually aggressive or adventurous, but
like their aggression
animals.
is just kind of like going. Arr, arr.
Yeah, it's like that part in remember that part in Suspiria when it's like, Susie, Sarah, I heard that girls whose names start with the letter S are snakes, and then she's like, nah. Remember that part where they sticking their tongues at each other? It's like they're doing that basically. Right. Anyways, so then whatever. I don't even remember how Sybil Danning dies.
Express.
Malibu Express.
Malibu Express is the Andy Sedaris movie that
the Howling 2's.
If you're a fan of Sybil Danning, that's her Barry Lyndon.
Right.
That's her premiere film.
I still like They're Playing with Fire. They're Playing with Fire is my favorite instance.
Which one is that one?
Remember the one where that little shrimp is like climbing all over her, and she's like his teacher at school, and then
that is a good one.
Yeah, but anyways, I kind of just want to cut this short. Like, I mean, how does this end? There's like a kid wearing a werewolf mask in the hallway on Halloween, and then it's that song again. No, 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 no. That fucking sort of 80s sounding weird song. And then it goes into this montage, and then Sybil Danning rips off her top like 16 times or something. And apparently
over the credits.
Yeah, over the credits. But I don't know. I don't know what else even to say about this. Like, pretty much after Steerbush shows up, I kind of zone out and I don't really know what the hell's going on. Yeah,
it's just a lot of, I don't know. It's boring as fuck.
Right.
It's a really bad movie. And if it didn't have that scene with Sybil, and you could tell like they knew that this was gold. Like they had, like when they shot it, they were like, all right, Sybil Danning rips her top off. This is fucking gold. So let's just play it 1,000 times over the end of the movie.
That's right.
Because that's the best thing about it. If it didn't have that scene in it, this movie, you could just throw it in the garbage.
Well, I mean, it does have the song. I think that I would still give it an entire eggplant just for that song.
No way.
Okay.
I can't even remember the song.
Well, I can. So what do you give this Howling 2 out of 5?
I'm going to give it a 1.5 because I'm saving. I got to like make room for the next two, which are even worse.
Oh, really? Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for part 3. I give it a 2, actually, the Howling 2, because I think that it just like endures for some reason. Like it's not, I mean, I've seen some pretty fucking forgettable films, and this one is not as forgettable as,
also I should say that the costumes, like a lot of them, like they're not even like trying to look like werewolves. They just look like
Klingons,
just like cavemen or something. Like,
yeah,
like there's no, like they're all just like hairy men.
Yeah.
Like Chewbacca's or whatever. Like they're not werewolves.
They just found some Czechoslovakian guys with really, really thick back hair. That part again in the warehouse with the Ray Don Chong werewolf. There's just close-ups of her just kind of like being like just growling.
Yeah, she's got like Klingon makeup on her face.
I mean, she just looks like fucking Worf. from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I think anytime you have a black actor and you put that makeup on their face, it's just like, yeah, there's Worf.
Okay, yeah. I don't 100% agree with that, but let's move on to the Howling.
Prove me wrong, as Charlie Kirk said.
Prove you wrong. So what I do, I get a bunch of black people and put Worf makeup on them.
And see who does. Okay, you don't look like Worf. Congratulations.
Yeah, you know what? I think they all look like Worf anyways. It's like, well, you can't do that. You can't make the guy you're having the argument with the judge of the argument.
We'll get Simon Cowell to judge.
It's a fool's errand. Oh yeah, Simon Cowell. He looks like fucking
America's judge.
America's judge. Where the fuck? Oh yeah, so we're talking about the Howling 3 now. Also a Felipe Mora film. Now, what do we do with the Howling 3? Well, we go down under. We take it back to the roots, to Philip Mora, who is an Australian man himself. He takes the film back to Australia. And we're dealing with the idea that, first of all, that werewolves exist all over the world, and the ones in Australia originate from the thylacine, or aka the Australian wolf, and they're marsupial, and and that's the whole thing with the Howling 3, is that they're these marsupial fucking werewolves. And our protagonist is a girl named Jaboa, who's like this white girl who's, I guess somehow she's sort of coded as being like an Aboriginal, but like she's as white as can be. And she shows up in Sydney, and she gets cast in like a horror movie and all this stuff. But anyways,
she escapes her marsupial family that live out in the bush.
Yeah.
And because I guess isn't there a claim that like her dad was like molesting her or something?
Yeah, the bald guy.
So that's why she runs away, and then she's wandering around Sydney, and then she gets picked up by a casting director.
That's like a real Eric Stoltz type, or maybe like Billy from Gremlins, a combination of those two actors. But anyways, but there's also all this stuff beforehand where it's like the first thing that you see in this movie is like this kind of shoddily constructed werewolf costume tied to a post, and then these Australian bushmen dancing around it, and it starts out in like black and white, like old 1910s footage, and then it sort of transforms into color, and then there's then it's like Siberia, and then there's like a guy getting killed by a werewolf in Siberia, and then there's these two English kind of.
I forgot about the Siberia.
Yeah,
I guess that's trying to. I just made me realize. I guess that's trying to link the Russian ballerina that comes to Australia.
Right,
who's also a werewolf.
Right. And she turns into a werewolf while doing a pirouette.
Right.
Then there are these two like British kind of like X-Files guys. And they're like, fucking talking about paranormal phenomenon or whatever. And like, one guy's like, I don't believe in the paranormal anymore. He's like, why not? He's like, because I spent, 10 years of my life, trying to find the answers behind a photograph of a condom with a flashlight filled with dog shit or something like that. Like he was fooled by that into thinking that was a UFO. But, then it's like, but there's reports of werewolves and they're in Australia. And then all of a sudden it's, boom. And we go to Sydney and there's shots of the opera house and the beach and all this stuff and whatever. And then, sure enough, we pick up with Jaboa, who's, wandering around Sydney with no shoes on. And she's, two sort of Australian kind of slovenly punks are like, they try to rape her or something, but then she kind of like snarls at them, very similarly to how Sybil Danning and company have sex. She kind of and then they get scared and they run away. Then
right, I remember that now.
Then that guy Martin.
Oh, she's got fangs too.
She's got fangs. She can grow them like a vampire. And so then she's in this horror movie now, and the movie's like got some stupid title like Flesh Suckers Part 8, Flesh Suckers from Uranus Part 8 or something like that. And I guess there's werewolves in it, and she's saying, "Oh, that's not really what werewolves look like." And then the guy's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I'll show you later." It's like, "Whoa!" And then
this movie becomes about tolerance.
It's about. Oh, that's why you didn't like it, because it has a message of tolerance.
That's one of the reasons.
Right. Well, why don't you go?
I also didn't like it because it's a piece of shit.
Yeah. Well, I do like this movie.
It wasn't Schindler's List.
Right. I do like this movie. I think it's just got a very irreverent like style to the whole thing. Like the way that it kind of jumps around, and there's a lot of like weird cuts that are accompanied with like television static sounds, and like just all this stuff going on with these X-Files guys. And actually that they're in it for like a very small amount of time. The bulk of the movie is just in Sydney with this girl and this guy, but also like just this bizarre idea of like these marsupial werewolves. There's that part where they go to see a movie, and like the movie that they're watching looks fucking awesome. Where the guy's in jail, and then there's that nurse, and she's like, "What's the matter with you?" And
that was the Bloodsuckers from Uranus.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. The movie that they're making is called Shapeshifters Part 8.
Is that the one she wins the Academy Award for?
No, I don't think she wins an Academy Award for it. I think that's just, he's got it wearing a shirt that says Shapeshifters, then he turns around and it says Part 8 on the back.
Right. That's the movie that he's casting her for when he sees her in the park.
That's right. So then, so like that movie, that's your transformation right there. Like within that movie, Bloodsuckers from Uranus or whatever it's called, the guy's in jail, and then that nurse keeps saying, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And then his he changes into a werewolf, and there's like bubbles that are like appearing all this. I think it's supposed to be like almost like making fun of the original transformation scene from The Howling or something, like having it all just be like overly emphasized, like bladder effects on this guy's cheeks and forehead, and then his snout elongates like in a comical fashion, and then the final scene is just like this nurse with her head between the jaws, and the jaws kind of rattling up and down.
Well, that's like at that point the werewolf head literally just becomes a puppet head.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's not even a mask or any kind of prosthetics on a face. It's literally just some sort of puppet.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It seems weird to think that this is like a parody of The Howling when the effects in this movie are like the rest of the effects in this movie, it makes The Howling
look like Barry Lyndon.
Look like Barry Lyndon.
Yeah.
Like it's like the werewolf costumes are terrible, the transformations are terrible, and the the sort of message of tolerance, the idea that like, oh, werewolves are people too, and let's just respect everyone, and it's sort of like a very ET type vibe where the government's trying to kill off the werewolves, and it's just not fun.
I don't know. I think that I like that part where where she gives birth to like a little weird mole, and it comes out of her vagina and then goes into like into her pouch. And I like stuff like that. I like the character too. I like that girl Jaboa. I think that I like watching her do stuff. Yeah, I mean, like,
you should also warn people that she doesn't get. There's no nudity in this movie.
Now there is actually. That I was worried about that. I was thinking about that. There is nudity in this movie, but it's but you have to watch like like
there's a nip slip.
There's an uncut version, and there's an R-rated version or whatever, like a rated version, unrated version. You do see nudity in this film, but I think
like in the second one.
I think so. Yeah, definitely not like in the second one.
Like I remember seeing like a little bit of you see just a very quick shot of Jerboa from behind, but wasn't anything very satisfying.
You couldn't fucking jerk your meat to it.
No, even if you paused it, it would be tough.
Yeah. So far, as far as like titillation is concerned of the sexual nature, the Howling 2 is definitely the winner. Howling 1 does have, more nudity technically, but the quality of nudity is diminished, is less than the nudity in Howling 2, because obviously Howling 2 has a high value specimen such as Sybil Danning.
Right.
Then there's a whole thing in Howling 3 where like the government comes and they're trying to kill these werewolves, and there's like army guys going in the outback and all this shit and that stuff. And then there's sort of like this werewolf, like god spirit kind of idea that where if you like put paint all over your body and say, hey, turn me into the werewolf, then you turn into this sort of giant werewolf. And that happens for like a bit, but nothing really amounts from it. All that stuff is kind of lame and forgettable. But I don't know, all the stuff that's kind of like in the front of this movie, like the first half of it, for some reason, maybe it's just because I saw it when I was young or something, but like I just think that it's kind of like interesting and full of creativity. But yeah, like and as far as like the message of tolerance is concerned, I mean, I never even really thought about that. I tend to be fairly tolerant in my day-to-day life, so it doesn't really like affect me too much, I guess. It doesn't conflict with my morals as it does with you.
I mean, it's not conflicting with my morals. It's just like I want to be entertained when I watch a movie. I don't want to be lectured at about like, oh, I gotta be tolerant to werewolves. And also like there's no suspense. There's no driving. Like at the end, towards the end of the movie, like the last like 20 minutes are like they're just hiding out in the woods from the army people and like having kids. And it's also funny too that like there's like Jerboa is the only one who we see having like doing marsupial shit. Nobody else is doing marsupial shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's not like marsupials don't really do anything other like different than like a marsupial wolf wouldn't do anything different than a normal wolf other than giving birth, right?
I guess, but then it's sort of like, well, why is this something to make a special point about? In like we're watching this movie because it's in the title is like the rise of the marsupials, or whatever the fuck it's called. So it's sort of like, okay,
it's just called the marsupials.
Yeah, so it's sort of like, oh, this is an important point. It's different from other howlings. These are marsupials, but it's really not that interesting, or it's even less interesting. So it's just sort of like, oh, so now you have a pouch? Like you're a werewolf with a pouch? Like who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Unless like she's like hiding like an Uzi in there or something. Like what do I give a shit?
I really don't think this movie is lecturing anybody. I think just it being about like, just having the werewolves being people or having, just not being like evil isn't necessarily the film lecturing me,
I think it is.
I don't think
it's totally like, I think it's like these werewolves are a minority and they're having to hide in the woods because they're being persecuted. But, we see that they're nice people and look at their beautiful children. And then like the scene when the guy's like, oh, I've been looking for you for so long. The war's over. People don't hate werewolves now. You're accepted. Oh, that's great. And then they all go and live in peace in the United States. And it's sort of like, see, we didn't have to be mean to the werewolves. They were nice. Anytime you have a movie with monsters who are nice, it's not good. It's not interesting. It's not interesting to me.
Doesn't she change into a werewolf at the end, like in the beginning of the first Howling? And then it's like, and then it's like everyone's like, oh my God, because it's not like oh yeah, everyone accepts werewolves now. It's just that they got away. And then she changes into a werewolf like on stage or like at the Oscars.
With Dame Edna.
Yeah. And she's like, oh my goodness. Well, cut to commercial.
I was like, oh, this is the stamp of quality. Dame Edna finally shows up in the Howling 3. But that was kind of a weird moment. I mean, there's a couple, that was a weird moment because it's sort of like, oh, werewolves are accepted now. And then she's turning into a werewolf at the Academy Awards and everybody's like, no. And it's just kind of like, well, I thought everybody was cool with werewolves now.
I never got that. I never picked up that was part of the thing that werewolves are just accepted as members of society. I thought they just managed to get away and, well,
I mean, there was two reasons for me to think that. One is when the guy finds his buddy in the jungle and says like, hey, everybody, the war against werewolves is over. World War Werewolf is done. Well,
I think it's just like those guys who are attacking, those particular group of army guys are just not going to attack you anymore. So like the
army guys were the U.S. government.
Were they? I thought they were just the Australian fucking government.
The president of the United States is in the movie. They're having meetings with the president of the United States about coming after him and shit.
This movie's awesome, dude.
And then so the guy living, the professor guy living in the woods with the Russian ballerina.
Yeah.
They're like both werewolves, and they're like, oh, we can move to they move to San Diego, and the guy gets a job as a professor at the school. So like those things make me think like, well, I guess it's cool to be you can be a werewolf out in the world now. They're not going to hunt you down. They know who this guy is. He's been in hiding for, a long time. I don't think he's like changing his name.
It's less like, oh, the world is okay with werewolves. It's just like, like all that money that we're putting into actually like actively pursuing them, we're just not going to do that anymore. They can kind of just do whatever. It's not like everyone knows that werewolves are real and they can whatever. I mean?
Then the other thing that they do is sort of like when Jerboa and her boyfriend disappear, everybody's like, oh, we don't know what happened to Jerboa. And I can't remember the fucking husband's name. They just disappeared. No one knows where they went. And they've been secretly making Academy Award winning films in Hollywood without anybody knowing.
Yeah. Well,
and you get a slight glimpse into their conflicted relationship when they're trying to, film a difficult scene.
Right.
And then cut to her getting the Academy Award from Dame Edna.
Come on, man.
And when I say these things, it sounds fun and funny. It's not.
It's so funny.
Really not.
Yeah. Oh, by the way,
it's torture. It was torture.
If any of this sounds good to you, it's bad, actually. All right. So what do you give? The Howling 3, the marsupials?
Howling 3. I'm going to give it a 0.
Oh man. All right. Well, I give it a good.
I only think about giving it a 0.5 because I want to give the Howling 4 a 0.
Yeah.
I guess I got to give the Howling 4 -1.
Nice. I give Howling 3 2.5.
Damn.
Yeah. Because I don't know. There's something about the message of tolerance of this film that I feel like everybody needs to hear.
I think this would be a good double feature with Precious. That would be the Rob Jabaz double feature. This movie
is going to help the world heal in these troubled times. So then we move on to the Howling 4, which is I think a made for TV. No, it's not a made for TV movie because there's nudity in it.
It's like a South African.
Well, it's a South African production, and it's a straight to video. That's what it is, not made for TV. And boy, oh boy, I mean, like this one really kind of takes it back to sort of the DNA of the first Howling, where it's just like, but the way they do it is like,
first they remove anything that was good.
Yeah, but just the construct of like, okay, let's have this be focused on this woman, and she's got this boyfriend, and they go to like an isolated location, and then there's this slut, and then the boyfriend has sex with the slut, and then slut's a werewolf, and then then there's like a thing at the end, and and then there's also like sort of this like sort of doctor guy who's actually a werewolf and who's in charge of it all, very similar to the fucking or the Avengers guy rather.
Right.
And it's very, very similar, like in sort of a very broad stroke to the original Howling. But then there's also like this sort of story going on with like this nun who like lived before, like who died, and there's that fucking, what's that thing where it's like she says something and they think it's like all of us demons or something, and then it's like, oh no, she really said werewolves are here, like, or fuck. I don't remember. Do you remember? Like there's this really funny, like I love it because it's this like, you can tell that whoever wrote it was like, oh, this is clever. This is really clever. It's like you think she's saying one thing, but if you say it fast enough, she's saying another thing. Kind of like in that KRS-One song, Black Cop, how he says, officer, really like fast a bunch of times. And then he eventually says overseer. And he's like, oh, see, it's the same thing, you know?
Right.
But anyways, I don't know. What do you want to say about the fucking Howling 4? The whatever the subtitle is.
Man, it is fucking like negative 10. It's terrible. It's fucking awful.
This one's got a song too. This one's got a really good song at the beginning. It's like, it goes like something evil, something monstrous. It's like,
I think I like that song even better than the Howling 2 song.
No, the Howling 2 song. That Howling 2 song is actually a good song. It's actually a good fucking song that you can fucking put onto and incorporate into your lifestyle. But and then you got the hunky boyfriend. The boyfriend in this one is a real like square, like sort of high cheekbone, sort of chiseled jaw kind of hunk. Like
he's like a director or something. Isn't he like trying to make a movie, or like he's trying to like he has to kind of take off every once in a while to take meetings in Hollywood.
Oh God, I have no fucking idea. Are you sure? I thought he was just some guy who was just professional hunk who just hangs out with this writer and just kind of hangs around till the money's gone. But I guess she's trying to write a novel, like just the trope of the pretty young 30-something who has a troubled past and is isolating herself, trying to get back into writing and write a new novel. But I think it's like a romance novel or something. I don't fucking know. Who do you like better? So in terms of like the women of the women of the Howling series, we got Marcia Quist, Sybil Danning, obviously the GOAT, Jerboa, right. And then maybe and then the slut from the Howling 4. Who do you think's better, the slut from the Howling 4 or Marcia Quist?
That's a good question. There was something intriguing, something cat-like about the slut from Howling 4.
Yeah. Kind of like what's the name of that lady who was in They Live with the eyes?
Oh, yeah.
Meg Foster.
Meg Foster.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Howling 4 woman.
Cool. Yeah, I prefer Marcia Quist because I got to see her bush.
That's right, but you forgot about it.
I did. It wasn't a very memorable bush, I suppose. All right. Well, yeah. So then, I mean, is there anything good about the Howling 4? It's got like it actually has like a really cool Steve Johnson designed werewolf suit that you never see, that you see like maybe like, like you see it like maybe like for a second and it's all surrounded in flame. But the design, if you actually go online and look for like the Howling 4 Steve Johnson werewolf suit. There's even a thing on YouTube where they show kind of like a test of them doing it, like, you know, outfitting it on, putting it on somebody and like walking it around. It's actually a really great werewolf design. It's very demonic looking. But you don't ever get to see it in the film. And there's also this part too where this guy turns into a werewolf by melting into a puddle, and then a wolf comes out of the fucking puddle.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, which I also like a lot. I think that's a great little solution to not having a true werewolf transformation scene. And actually, it inspired me to do something else that I'll share with you guys later on, a few years later when I actually do it. But
what is your opinion about the Ginger Snaps movies?
I don't like the performances. I don't like that girl, Catherine Isabel.
Which one is she?
The older one.
Cute one?
The older one. The main one, Ginger.
Main one, right.
Yeah. I just don't I think go on.
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say I feel like the first one I have a hard time, like I remember just kind of having a hard time following, or maybe I was bored. The second one, I don't know if, yeah, it's the second one, because the third one takes place in like the Old West, which that one wasn't bad, but I really kind of like the second one. The attractive girl from the first one is gone, and it's just the sister, sort of the big nose sister. And she's in a mental institution, and it's pretty good. I remember it. I mean, I haven't watched it in a while, but I remember seeing it thinking like, oh, this one's actually pretty well done.
Yeah.
And it felt fresh, like a fresh take.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I think I have seen the first two. At least the first one I've seen. I remember the part where a guy's pissing blood into a urinal. He's screaming. That's right. And I also remember like it is a Canadian film, and I remember like a lot of the parts where they're walking home from school, like, and there's like a retaining wall and like train tracks, and then like just, you know, boring houses on the other side. Really is like reminds me of in high school in Ontario. Like just it's this basically the same kind of like locations, you know. So there's things about that I just like because they're familiar. I should watch them again. I always just think of like Ginger Snaps as just because it's like sort of like 90 or what is it, like late 90s, like 98 or some shit.
Yeah. So mid to late 90s.
Yeah, I just always think of it as like just being like the Courtney Love horror movie where it's all like the soundtrack is all like whole and like alternative fucking rock music, and it's difficult for me to kind of make the effort to kind of go and put it on because it just seems like lame, and I don't know, just not something that I would want to revisit. But if you're telling me that the Ginger Snaps movies are good, then well, maybe I should go revisit them.
I'm saying the second one.
The second one. All right, I'll go watch the second Ginger Snaps movie, and I'll report back. So as far as eggplant ratings are concerned, what do we give the Howling 4? A New Beginning or something?
So like -1.
-1. I'm going to go ahead and give this one a 1.5.
for the puddle transformation.
For the puddle transformation, it gets like a full point, and then a half point for like the werewolf suit design, but then a half a point off of that for just not ever shooting it.
I think the guy that made the suit goes on to make subsequent Howlings, like 5, 6, and 7.
I don't think so. That Steve Johnson, if I'm not mistaken, is the guy who did all the monsters and Ghostbusters. Like he's like one of the best dudes. I
feel like I read somewhere that he's got something to do with either one or a couple of the sequels.
He actually married Linnea Quigley at one point.
Nice.
He was fucking.
That must have been a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, I bet. Partial filmography. Oh yeah, so he actually did work on the Howling one, and also American Werewolf in London for that matter, Ghostbusters. He worked on Howling 2.
Okay.
Your Sister's a Werewolf. He didn't get called back for Howling 3 because I think that was all an Australian affair. And then Howling 4, the original Nightmare, I think he took on a more like he wasn't just a hand like he was in Howling and American Wolf in London. He was actually like, you know, designed, like they were executing his designs.
He's in the movie too.
Is he?
Yeah.
What the fuck's
he's just kind of got like it's just like a small part driving a truck around or something.
He's like, you better, if you're going to kill an animal, you better eat it. If not, that's a sin. Like in the first one, remember?
Oh yeah. So that's what Ed Quist's brother said.
Cool. Well, it looks like we're done today. You would think that like going into like a film series with 4 entries, well, more really. I mean, there's part 5 and then there's like a remake and all this stuff. You would think that it would be a more satisfying episode, but here I am left feeling empty and unsatisfied. And
well, it's not a very satisfying series. It's pretty. It really is pitiful.
It's pitiful and pathetic. It is. I mean, you know, yeah, it's a shame.
I mean, what's a more pitiful series? Children of the Corn. Like this might be bottom of the barrel.
Have you seen Children of the Corn 3? Urban Harvest?
I've seen them all.
Yeah. Children of the Corn 3, Urban Harvest.
The one in the city, is cool.
Yeah,
but that's the only one I remember out of all. Like I've seen 8 of them.
Yeah. Children of the Corn Part 3 is so fucking fun. How the little kid, like it's so funny. Like the little kid is like, he's the same kid who's in like
Problem Child.
Say what?
Problem Child.
No. He's in fucking I think Demonic Toys, or maybe it's Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys or something. He plays like the earthly incarnation of like a demon, and they give him they have him speak his lines, but then they have like someone with a deep voice ADR him, and then they also pitch down that voice, so he sounds like a monster, stuff like that. And but anyways, that kid just, I guess, had a good run playing like sort of a demon child in movies. But they have him kind of, it's like, okay, he's from whatever that fucking town is from, and then he ends up getting transplanted to the city, and then and he's supposed to be like an Amish or something. Like he's supposed to be very pious and whatever, but like, and he's like, we have to kill all the heretics and all this stuff. But then like there's this part where he goes to kiss his mom on the cheek, and then he puts his tongue in her ear. And it's like, why did they do that for? And it's like, there's no reason other than just like, come on, it'd be creepy if the kid was sexual towards the mom, And it's like, but it doesn't fit with anything that the movie's trying to tell us. Like you guys are just going totally for broke, just, like betraying the entire, point and story just to get like one little moment in that, like, I guess disturbs people or whatever with air quotes. But, regardless of all that stuff, that movie's fucking fire. Maybe one day we'll talk about the children. Oh yeah. So anyways, yeah, Children of the Corn is definitely a more pathetic.
Watch all 8.
A more pathetic. It's funny because like in Children of the Corn Part 2, there's a girl in that movie that's like a real fucking babe. And I remember because that movie came out, I think, in 92. So I would have been like 11 or 12 at that time. And
which one?
Children of the Corn Part 2, The Final Sacrifice.
Okay. I don't remember that one.
I mean, she's a babe, but she's like, she's definitely underage. She's 15. So like when I was a kid, I was like, holy shit, that hot girl is probably a couple years older than me.
Yeah, I got to go and meet her.
Right, exactly. I'm gonna go down to Hollywood and try to find this fucking platinum blonde fucking smoke show. But then now I watch the movie now and I'm just kind of like, I still think she's hot, but she's 15. What am I supposed to do with those kinds of emotions?
That girl today is Greta Van Susteren.
Wow. You know her last name. All right. Well, that's great. I think we finished our episode. To recap, the Howling series is mostly a fucking garbage can full of shit. But
just watch the first one. That's all you need.
Watch the first one.
If you're looking for a fun werewolf movie, the first one is all you need.
Yeah. Then you can go on. What's that shit on Dr. Skin or whatever?
Mr. Skin?
Yeah. Go to Mr. Skin and watch the Sybil Danning parts of The Howling 2, yeah, and then of course you're going to want to sit down, set aside an evening to watch The Howling 3 to really take in the message of tolerance and acceptance, and then Howling 4, you're probably going to want to skip that one. And then the 5 and whatever else, you want to skip those too. We certainly did.
Maybe someday.
Maybe one of these days.
I'll put those on my bucket list.
Yes. All right. Time to stop our recording.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.